morning, team. Welcome back to the channel. It is Sunday, the day after Parkrun. You guys may well have seen the video yesterday that I put out, which was all about the 6-day diary leading up to a Parkrun course PB attempt. No spoilers needed. It was documented. I got a course PB, 18 minutes 10 seconds. So what I want to do in this video is basically dissect my local Parkrun course and the run that I did yesterday, and how can we find another 10.1 seconds to get below 18 minutes. I am thinking of going to another course to see, hey, how different would that be, and could I get closer to 18 minutes on a different course. But for this video, let's look at this course that I did, my local Parkrun course called the Whammy. It's known as a fast course, I think. It's straight out and back on good tarmac roads, but it is slightly rolling, and you'll see kilometre 2 and 3 not spoils the run, but that's the culprit for stopping the sub-18 minutes with those 2 kilometres. And there's reasons why, but I'm just not sure whether I can overcome that course to get the time under 18 minutes, because I thought I paced it well yesterday, but did I? Let's have a look and see how it went.
3, 2, 1, go!
Right, let's have a look at this course at the Whammy. So as we start, you can see it looks relatively flat, and I guess it is for the first kind of 200 meters. And now after you pass that little junction, it's a real gentle rise. It's probably nothing to write home about, and because it's the start of the event, you don't really feel it. You're more focused on not going too fast and holding back to get the right pace. There's a couple of little speed humps you cross over there, but they're no problem. So as we go into the woods here, you can see perhaps it is slightly rising, and you do feel that on the return leg. You feel, you know, the decline, and you can push hard and get a bit of extra speed. So as we go under the bridge here, you still got that little slight rise, I don't know, maybe 0.5%, 1%, and you're just focused on getting into your rhythm, getting into your pace. For me, I wanted to kick off that first K around 3:36, 3:35, and as we can see now, we come out of the trees. It is kind of definitely flat here, and you can cruise and try and get in that rhythm there. And you know, there's a few guys pulling away ahead there. Quick check of the watch, and pretty much on pace, and quite content. Legs feel okay. I think there's about 7 or 8 people ahead that I can chip away at and keep in front of me and help drag me around, hopefully, as we're going ahead there. As we just pass this little junction here, there's a couple of guys who've gone off a bit fast, and I think they come back, but at this point it does start to actually go down, and you can really sort of pick up a bit more pace and catch up even more, because it is slightly downhill and yeah, quite fast. And that's where you need to possibly make the benefit of, even though it's the first kilometre and you get in the rhythm, maybe you could pick up some speed there. Maybe I could pick up some extra time there when I'm trying to find these elusive 10 or 11 seconds. But this is all downhill, and as you come through the bridge, it flattens out and you start to climb. And here we go through the bridge, and as it flattens out here and starts to go up, we're approaching the 1 kilometre point. So that's quite a fast first kilometre, and maybe, although I like to ease into the run and build it, there's time to gain there by actually pushing hard, maybe after the first 400 metres, gaining a couple of seconds and make use of that. So the first kilometre is just ticking off here as it starts to rise. You can't really see the rise, but it is quite significant when you're running hard. So that's kilometre done, and this second kilometre is key. Like I said, if you see the stats there, the second kilometre is always the slowest, and it is the slowest because of this rise. Firstly, as we've gone into the second kilometre now, and this goes on, I don't know, maybe 300 meters or so, and then it tops out. I mean, I say tops out like a huge climb. It's not hugely steep, but it's definitely significant and enough to slow you down. So I did actually try and push on here because I knew the second kilometre was the key element to getting a good time. But once you get to the top of this rise, it flattens out, and then a little flat period for maybe 300 metres, and then you'll see a little sort of dip and a wiggle in the course, and that's where it really does get into a drag that slows you down significantly, the drag up to the turn point. So this is it topped out now, flattened out, and I'm trying to just sort of have a micro recovery from that sort of 200-300 meter incline that we've gone up, and make use of that micro recovery, because after this little wiggle that's coming up, that is the drag that goes up to the turn, and the 2 kilometre point is kind of halfway up that drag, which is an incline, and that is the part that really does bring the pace down for the whole run. And here it comes, as you can see, you drop down a bit, and then it kicks up on this little bend round to the left and twirls round to the right, and then it's just a bit of a constant grind as we're going up this climb. And I really am trying to push harder here, because I know that this is the part that's going to slow me down. So catching the guy in front of me, or girls I should say, and then there's another guy in front of me that I do start to make grounds on, but never quite get in touch. And really, as we'll see later on, maybe I should have just gone for it, got on his shoulder and have him drag me round, but hey ho, that's the way it goes. So this is a drag, it just goes on, and it just gets hard, and you really plays with your mind, with my mind anyway. I'm pushing, and I think I don't want to push anymore. I'm just going to blow and then ruin the whole run. So it's that fine balance, isn't it? And could I have pushed harder? Maybe not. I mean, I was going pretty hard. Then, as you see the church steeple up on the horizon on the left there, and this old railway line has still got the signal there, and you know when you see that signal, you're getting close to the turnaround point. And we'll see some of the leaders coming back the other way in just a second. So you can kind of push even harder here, because you know you're coming to the end, and once you turn around, conversely, you've got that kind of decline to run down. But it never evens out, does it? You push as hard as I up, and when you come down you think, oh, that makes it equal, but it doesn't, does it? You can't make up the ground from the incline by running downhill. So there's 2 leaders just come past. Quick check of the watch from a pace as I come up to the turn there, and here's the turn, and it's quite tight really, so there's a couple of seconds lost there, but yeah, it is a bit disconcerting, because my pace was around 3:40, and I thought, oh, I'm nowhere near where I need to be to get close to 18 minutes, or even getting below my course PB on there of 18:15. But once you turn, it is literally a case of, I need to run fast here. Even though I'm going downhill, I can't relax, and that's what I mean by you never seem to quite make up the pace you've lost on the incline, even though you've got the corresponding downhill element. So this is where the course works. It's relatively narrow, but you don't get held up, and you start to see the people still coming back to the turn as you run down here. So all I'm focusing on is trying to have relaxed speed and make use of the downhill, ready for when this downhill finishes, because it's a bit sort of rolling, to push the last bits of downhill that I'm going to come to. I don't think I could have gone any faster on this bit here. I was trying to stay, you know, speedy, relaxed, and push it and get that fine balance. As I said, I don't think there's any time to be made up on here. You've just got to go for it, but still stay smooth. So we're coming up now to the bottom of this descent, if you like. You see a little wiggly bit, traffic's a bit heavy. So that's the end of the corresponding downhill element. And this bit here, although it's flat, it really does feel quite smooth, and I was flowing quite well. Quick check of the watch, and I've made up a second or so on the pace overall. I knew there was a guy ahead of me, you could probably just see him, and he was the target really. He's a big guy. I thought might stand a chance of catching him on this slightly rolling return, but the return leg is faster. There's no doubt about that. It's faster on this course once you've turned. So I knew there was hope of making up time, but just how much time could I make up? In my head, I still thought I didn't have a chance of getting near 18:15, but staying positive, looking at the guy ahead and try and push it as hard as I can. So now as we come further down, the guy ahead of me is still there, but this is coming into another descent. So you can, again, time to be made up. I just don't think I can make up any time on the descents. I'm going as hard as I can to stay smooth. For me, it's got to be on the, because I've been a lighter guy as well, it's got to be on the flats and the inclines. But this is slightly downhill, so fast, and again making up the overall pace, increasing the overall pace for the finish time. The guy ahead of me doesn't seem to be coming back at the moment. So just to check, the second kilometre was about halfway up towards the top, halfway up that incline towards the turn point, and then as you come back down, so you're into the third kilometre. So some of the third kilometre overall pace includes the climb, so that's why the second and third kilometres are the slowest, and then it's pretty much game on, and you can push on the faster rest of the return leg. So as I've finished my third kilometre, moving in now, I'm in the fourth kilometre as we come under the bridge here again at the end of that downhill element. Once you come through the bridge, there's a little kick up, as you can see, which is obviously the point where I thought I could perhaps make up some time on the initial start at the beginning of the parkrun. And as we come up this little kicker, my head was saying, the guy is coming back to me. He's a bigger guy. I'm gaining on the climbs. So really, this is another point where I could make up time, I think. Because my second 2 kilometres overall were the fastest I've ran on there. Low 3:30s. I think the last kilometre was actually 3:30. Could I have run faster on the first, on that incline up to the turn? That's the point. I need to push even harder. But here I'm pushing as hard as I can, and I am going as fast as I've ever been, and I am catching the guy ahead. But as it turns out, I never quite got on his shoulder, or not early enough. So yeah, push on here, and we're coming towards, I think we've even done we're into the fourth kilometre now, coming up to the last K actually, as we push on. As we approach this fork here with the marshal, that really does kind of signify, I'm getting towards the end. I think it's about 800 metres to go. The sign said 1 furlong, don't know what a furlong is, I'll have to check. But it's about 800 metres when you look at your watch, I think, from this point. And this is slightly uphill. Not uphill, but it's in the incline. It's a corresponding downhill bit, maybe half 1%. It's enough to bite when you're flat out at the end of 5k, that's for sure. And you feel it as we come through the woods either side here. I am catching the guy ahead, and he's a target, and I'm pushing as hard as I can. And I'm running a 3:30 kilometre here, so I don't think there's any time to be made up here. If I want to find those missing 10 or 11 seconds, I need to make up the time before I get to this point, and then just hang on and suffer even more, having gone faster during the 5k before I get to the last sort of half k. As the path opens up here, you can see the green grass and the junction on the left there. The finish is over to the left in that clump of trees over on the left, and it really does feel like, right, I'm home, and you can pretty much unload everything, empty the tank, and I'm pushing as hard as I can with the finish in sight on the left. I look at my watch and I'm thinking, I could do this. I'm getting close to 18 minutes. I can't remember what it was on. You can see I am catching the guy ahead, so I'm pushing, thinking I might stand a chance of actually catching him. But the problem is, you think, oh, wow, I'm getting close. It was 16 minutes something, or low 17s. You come to this little junction turn here, that really kicks up and just throws any pace you had out the window. It's almost a U-turn. And then this little stretch here after the U-turn, you think you're there, it just slips away. And I think 17 minutes is just ticking over as I came round the bend, 18 minutes rather. And that's the 10 seconds or so to get from the bend, then round to the left into the finish. So I was close, not close enough into the finish, and I was pretty close to the guy in front, but should have gotten his shoulder earlier. Thank you. Give me a ticket, and it's 6th. There we go.
I'm scanning.
Does it work?
Thanks, Mark. Yeah.
Number 6, or do you need to scan that one?
Yeah. That's great. That's done.
Thank you. Well, that's Parkrun Blast done. Got to be happy with a 18:10. Previous best on that course was 18:15. But I have a secret desire to go under 18 minutes, and the course is deceptive because you come towards the end and you look at your watch, 30 seconds to go, and there's a little loop double back on yourself. You think you can do it, and it just slips away. So I thought I may do it when I was coming towards the end, and then I realised, no, not quite. But to be fair, it's that 2k point where there's the climb up to the turn is where you lose it. And if you look at the kilometre splits, really good strong finish with a 3:30k to finish. Although I was feeling it, I was full gas. It's that, as I said, as you go to the top at the turn, I think I got a 3:45k, and there's the 10 seconds lost really, compared to the other kilometres, 3:34 and you know, mid 3:30s and low 3:30s. Maybe I should try a different course. But gotta be pleased, so let's go get some recovery in now. Job done, gotta be pleased. Catch you next time.